I'm representing 10 by 10. The trade show industry in America is a $16.4 billion industry. And in the world of business-to-business marketing, we see that 34% of all corporate expenditures in B2B is made into trade shows. In doing our research, we found that working with vendors is a freaking nightmare. The process today of getting trade show vendors is absolutely astonishing. If you look at the relationship between vendors and hosts, now the vendor has to contact the host many times through email, sometimes through a thing called a telephone. They actually receive in exchange a faxed application, which they then sign, fax back, which they then receive a faxed contract back, and it goes back and forth and back and forth. And this process is a process that is solid, and they think that it works, but they actually hate each other because of it. Here comes 10 by 10. We are Everbright meets eHarmony. We streamline the registration and payment process. We feature bilateral reviews, and we match vendors to hosts. So with this, during the weekend, our amazing team was able to build a website that is live today. You're able to add events. You're able to add details of where it's located. It automatically populates the calendar. From there, today, you can search these events that are live and being marketed. You can go through and get individual event profile pages, and active today, you can even pay your registration fee online. All this information will go directly to the event host. How does payment work? Payment is extremely simple. The vendors pay us, we process payment, we keep up to a 10% fee for transaction, and we pass on the rest to the hosts. We already have 2 events online. Backstage Pass, which is an event in Hattiesburg, Mississippi. They are targeting 12 exhibitors. That exhibitor cost is going to be $300. So they're going to bring in $3,600, and we have a 10% transaction fee, bringing us $360. We also signed on the Southeast Travel, Food, and Wine Show. They're targeting 480 exhibitors at an average booth cost of $675. 324,000 in, 6% negotiated, 19,440 coming into us. The market. The market is professional event organizers. Now that market has sub-markets, festival organizers all over the country, trade show organizers, big and small, and community event planners. The competition. As of now, we have identified no service that offers a combination of event registration, payment processing, vendor-host matching, and bilateral review. The market to entry. We're going to be launching in 3 pre-existing regions, the DC metro area, upstate of South Carolina, and central Mississippi. We're going to reach event organizers through industry organizations and associations. We're going to reach vendors through their current events. Customer validation, we heard from folks with over 70 years experience, small community events all the way to international trade shows. 100% of vendors and hosts want feedback metrics. For that, bilateral review. Vendor to vendor, vendor to host, host to vendor. 90% vendors say they want a website that matches them. With that, we introduced Event Match. Vendor grow files will allow us to match the events with the things that will benefit the vendor the most. Host event details and have customizable event notification. 80% of hosts will have room to grow now. It is time for this industry to change. And we are 10 by 10, and we're changing it.
You had mentioned, well, first of all, I want to applaud you by putting the Secretariat Summit up there. I was very impressed. As a summit that the Commonwealth's hosting, and I'm coordinating some of it. But as far as the competition, right? We got CVET, we got Eventbrite, and so you're saying yours is much different compared to
Well, the thing with Eventbrite is many times Eventbrite is focused at the participants. This is focused strictly at the exhibitors or vendors. So although Eventbrite offers a full suite of participant tools, this allows us an opportunity by creating a payment platform to grow users, to begin to connect the vendors with the hosts. We're combining a payment platform with a matching service that will allow businesses to have greater impact from their trade show presence.
And CVET, I don't know their entire business model, but I think they have some of them.
Well, in doing searches, we did several search terms, and every single person we interviewed in the industry, we asked if they used any technology. The only thing that we could hear was custom designed registration platforms that were custom programmed for their needs.
Have you actually executed any events with the product or?
We haven't actually, we did a test registration. The payment module works, everything is operating. We even, I think, refunded the money too, so just to make sure, because you know how vendors are. But, with the time cycle, we were super pleased to be able to get the number of events posted that we did, get that payment engine in place, and be able to essentially go live.
But you have already signed up two customers?
Yes, we've got 2 customers that are going to use it and test it out in their management and processing.
I have a question going back to the earlier slide where you had that red drama. A really important part in the middle was the contracts?
Right. The contract, obviously, this is not going to eliminate the need for the contract, but the thing that I heard it from 3 different interviews that we did. Contracts are very, very easily executable digitally now, but they find that if the process doesn't start digitally, it's difficult for it to migrate digitally. So the contact that's doing the Southeastern Food and Wine Show in Greenville is what their plan is to be able to use the communication flow back and forth to move to a digital contract. They're a 3-year-old event, and that's relatively new in the trade show world, so they're able to explore technologies without the seniority issues that exist in some of the trade show industries now.
So who's your buying point inside organizations?
The buying point, many times, we've got 2 there. Our buying point primarily is the event coordinator. Now, the larger the trade show, the deeper the organization is going to be. I was able to, on many local organizations, they'll have a person who's the primary vendor contact. And many times they carry the sole control of being able to make the decision. The larger it gets, many times we also will have to get the approval of the person who might get some of the feedback, positive and negative, for the transition and process over time.
Procurement, CIOs, once you get into the bigger organizations?
Big, yes, absolutely, absolutely.
How much of a need is there for sort of the eHarmony side? Are there vendors looking for that maybe trade shows?
I have to be honest with you. I was shocked at how positive and instantaneous the response was when they heard that value proposition. And the thing that we have to think about is we're not necessarily always talking about a BMW figuring out what trade shows they're going to go to, but this thing scales right down to a downtown retailer that's trying to access and expose themselves to members of their own community.
In your all's current team, how much industry experience do you all have within the meeting and planning?
Well, I cut my teeth on marketing an international textile show, and then also 2 different style industry shows. One was a home and garden show. The other was a relatively standard run-of-the-mill craft fair that revolved around holiday season. We bring with that experience as independent businesses that were our target customer of the vendor, and also being able to bring experience with creating systems that can bring it all together. The contacts that we had were the things that really helped us to have the idea mature over the weekend. Thank you all so much.